still gonna cost them. I don't, yes, but at the same time, it's,
This is the first time you're
but at the same time, it's not, I've taught, already taught people. It's not,
So,
well, they've been very generous. And so it's,
well, it's gonna take a while to get there.
so it's like, it's
No,
hard
it's
to
helpful.
keep, I don't want to keep going for
Right?
that same way.
Is the rack for me 12 hours? Right.
Oh, we're gonna connect.
Yeah, I've already
That's
started.
terrible.
something. Nope. Has to be
Alan.
there.
Okay, scooch in a little bit more. Here.
We'll go on the other side. Sandwiches, 'cause you.
Back that way.
Allie, you're breaking tradition. Hi, you're breaking tradition.
Why is that?
The Bat Mitzvah family always sits over there.
Don't listen to him. Do not listen.
They want to be on my side.
That's right. Do not listen.
We should start to keep
My
Alan.
daughter's over there. So
Do not. You guys could have stayed over there.
No, we're coming to join you.
sit in the front right there.
If you are watching on our stream, Shabbat Shalom. So glad that you are watching. Of course, happy to see everyone here in the sanctuary, but just figured as you were getting your guitar, I would just give a welcome to our streamers. The Ooh, stream weaver. Do you know who sings that song? Anybody? Gary Wright is the name of the person who sang Dreamweaver, and it's a great song. Again, welcome to the streamers, but also, of course, now welcome to anyone who is here in person. So glad to have you. We will be using this prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah, and we start with a little bit of a love song. Yeah? It's a beautiful love song because of today is February 14th, and it's a day of love. So Dodie Lee, page 129. Shabbat Shalom again. And while I'd like to think that that was how we began our service, it might be, but it's not how we began Shabbat, you see, because Shabbat officially begins with the lighting of the candles for Shabbat. And so we are happy to call upon Michaela to join us here for the honor, along with her sister and parents, for the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles. And we're on page 121, and then the blessing for the candles will be on the previous page. But we're going to do a reading on page 121. So Michaela, here. Hold this. Can you see that? You're going to read from there to there.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So we may, in our own day, be among these who kindle light.
Nice. Now, I wasn't here to practice light and Shabbat. Light matches, but in your Devar tour, you made a whole thing about how your light matches the star of fire and stuff like that. So I've got so much confidence in you. Now, unless you want me to bring out two light stones.
Lighters.
Lighters. Thick. Farther one first.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's a little trick so you don't burn yourself.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
You again. So here, we're now on page 123 as we continue with the Kiddush. So please, will people do the first line together and then we'll sing the rest, okay? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shalat kodsho, b'ahava uvratzon yitvilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tefillah, l'mikra'ei kodesh, sefer litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'afarta, me'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Hashanah.
Amen.
You guys can go back to your seats. I'll see you in an hour. So, one of the things we have been trying to do more and more often on Shabbat is to be mindful of the fact that though we have been fortunate to see a number of hostages return home over the last month and a half, still we're aware that there are many, many others there, some of them living, hopefully many living, and we have a blessing that we say at moments when we bring them to mind. And I'll be lighting these two candles. I'll bring them home now, candles, and the yellow ribbon candle is just a way of keeping them, not letting it leave us. releases those who are in captivity. And you can find the words to this. You can find it on the inside cover or the inside page of your program. All right, so our service continues now with Shir Chadash. It's part of Psalm 96, which is on page 131. However, the words to the song, because there is some English involved as well, I think it can be found on 648 in your Siddur. Shir Chadash. It looks like it's the third one down on page 648. Depends on which page you were looking at when you followed along. If you were following from 648, then way back again to where we kind of were before. If, however, you were on that first page when I told you, it's forward a few pages, 138. This is Lecha Dodi, the Piyut, or the liturgical poem that was written in Sfat by the mystics for the sake of connecting us in a very kind of personal way to Shabbat. And we're going to do, by the way, the first, second, fifth, and ninth verse. And when we get to the ninth verse, I'm going to invite you to rise and face the entrance for the verse.
Likrat אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתפילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת תכוונה לך, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם תשוכה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
All right, I'm glad you're standing because we continue now with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship, page 146. Please join me. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv, Aravim. Shema is on page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Next 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On 157, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place and a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. 158, Mi Chamocha.
Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Mi kamocha v'yinim Adonai. Mi kamocha v'dar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha v'yinim Adonai. Mi kamocha v'dar b'kodesh. Torah tehilot
All right, so that's such a great version of Bichamocha. So our service continues with Vishamru. Vishamru, you're not going to hear this song sung like on a Tuesday afternoon with the kids. You're not going to hear this song sung on Sunday mornings. You're not going to hear this song. The only time you will hear this song is either today or tonight or tomorrow. And why? Because its message is specific and unique for Shabbat. Its message about the holiness of Shabbat, about how Shabbat has become, about how we have always observed Shabbat throughout the ages as a sign and as a covenant between us and God. It kind of reminds us about what today is all about. So Vishamru is on 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וניהובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
All right, our service continues with the tefillah. So this begins on 164 with the singing of Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, and then it goes straight into 166, 168, and 170. I'll try my best to tell you which page number we're on if it changes, but no guarantees. So either 164, 166, 168, or 170. So it's you pick. I'm sure you got a 25% chance of hitting the right page. But this is the tefillah. Would you please rise?
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Agim Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth may declare your praise. Yadadai-dai-dai, 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 Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula livnei bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah.
168.
Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atarav le'Hoshia, Mashich HaRuach u'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim beChesed, Mechaye HaKol berachamim ramim. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
170.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We continue with our evening prayer for peace, which is called Shalom Rav. It's on page 178. However, there are a handful of English words as well, unique to this version. It's not part of the prayer specifically. And you can find it on the inside cover, or the inside page of your program again. So it's Shalom Rav, this written by Alana Air.
Make of us a house for all people, gather us in hope for all people, surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amna, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amna, Tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon bechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon bechol hashalom. Bechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך, בשלומך. Make of us a house for all people, gather us in hope for all people, surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Make of us a house for all people, gather us in hope for all people, surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Shalom למדה תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל למדה תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל ושלום.
Feel free to put your siddur, your prayer book, down for a little while. This is just the point in the service, and we just use it. We just kind of pause from what's written down, which is called keva, and we turn it to a little bit of kavanah, which is what's kind of in our hearts. What we usually talk about, we like to use this as an opportunity to create a little bit of community by sharing the joys that are in our lives and then also sharing the struggles a little bit later. But we start with joy. And so if you've experienced joy somewhat recently and you would like to share that joy, then I invite you to raise your hand and tell us a little bit about your joy. And then maybe, just maybe, we can sing from time to time a little Ken Yehi Ratzon, which means may it be God's will. So if you've experienced joy and you want to share it, lift up your hand. If this has been a joyless sanctuary,
We have joy.
you have joy. Go ahead.
We have a bar mitzvah tomorrow and all of our family visiting.
Woo! Who's the bat mitzvah? Jordan, Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. Michael. Sharon. Your daughter's coming in from college tonight. What time's her flight? Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. What time does it arrive?
Midnight.
Oh my God. Was that her idea or your idea?
She likes the night flight.
Yeah, but who's picking her up? Just because she likes the night flights doesn't mean you have to. Oh my God. Well, I'm so glad she's coming back. Is there a spring break for Brandeis?
Winter break.
Winter break.
Spring break comes later.
All right. So the joy of a bat mitzvah and the joy of having a kid come home it's always nice to have your kids come home when they've been away for a while. Join me in little Ken Yehi. Ken Yehi. Ken Yehi. More joy. Karen.
Yeah, my oldest son David and his wife and two daughters came for a visit last weekend, which is why we weren't here last Friday night. We arrived and had dinner, but also Jim's son Michael and daughter-in-law Angela came and joined us, so we had a lovely dinner all together, and then that lovely breakfast the next morning. It was a great visit.
How was lunch?
Well, then they had to take off.
So that wasn't nearly as lovely.
Yeah, so that was particularly nice.
Beautiful. I'm so happy that you're able to get everyone together like that. More joy? Yeah, Carrie.
My team, I'm the team captain for a running team, and we raised just shy of $1,000 for the Children's AT Project and for a taxi account in Galicia. We're Team Emmy, and we're running a 10K in Disney World next Saturday, and so
You're running it in Orlando.
in Orlando.
Okay, right.
Like fingers crossed that the weather holds out, that I can fly out on Friday morning. But we raised almost $1,000, and I get to see my friends. So.
Congratulations. Sounds like fun. That sounds great. More joy. Yes, David.
I got a message from my granddaughter, who's a Jewish matchmaker, and she was really excited because she had been interviewed on a podcast, and she sent me the link to the podcast, and it was like she's going to have so much business, she won't know what to do with it. But we're proud of her. She's got about 800 clients now.
Okay, so hold on for 1 second. If she has 800 clients, that means she has not done such a good job of matching them, right? The best matchmakers are the ones who have like 2 or 3 clients that they're really struggling with, but everyone else, it's been easy, right? So what's up with the 800 clients?
Well, they're from all over the country, and she's working with the age group of 23 to 35, and she's been very successful with her model. The model, it's reasonably priced compared to the other Jewish matchmakers that charge.
I know, they charge you an arm and a leg, those matchmakers. No, it is kind of like a question like, if you have a lot of clients, does that make you a good matchmaker or a bad one? I guess theoretically, the more you have, the better the pool is for you to match with, but then it suggests that you didn't match that. But you know what? You're right, that's a good point too. Well, Mazel Tov to her, that is really great. So we had the joy of having 2 families coming together for lovely dinner and a lovely breakfast. We had the joy of you raising money for an important cause and being able to go to Disney World and see your friends, and the joy of a granddaughter who is really making a name for herself in the matchmaking business. Congratulations for all that. Can you hear a little bit? Can you hear? Can you hear? Anybody else want to share joy? Jared.
My daughter Edie just started working for Jewish Family Services of Western New York, and when they lost their federal funding, I guess she's been instrumental in helping them work with other organizations to make up the shortfall in her role as communications director. And we're so proud of her, and she loves what she's doing and loves helping people. So.
Fantastic. Congratulations. I always love it when I hear about, people from our congregation or young people, and then now they're working at this Jewish agency or that, and I'm like, wow, I didn't really see it coming, but now I'm so glad that they're, so congratulations. It's really amazing. Anybody else want to share joy? Yeah.
I recently just got my driver's license, and they're also happy because they don't have to drive me everywhere now.
So let's talk about this for 1 second. So wait, is that 16 or 17?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up, 15 was how old you were when you got your driver's license.
I had to wait for a bit.
Yeah, well, and do you have carte blanche? You can drive anywhere you want? No.
I wish, but no.
Right, so is it just like, are you able to drive, but do you have permission to drive alone?
Yes.
Okay, during the day?
Yes.
Not at night?
Like, I have a curfew,
Yeah.
but I can drive like towards nighttime, like 10 o'clock's my latest.
Friends in the car with you, okay?
Nope.
Nope, okay.
By law.
No, by law. By parent law or
No,
by
actual law.
actual law?
Go to California.
Oh, that California, they're just
Where's California?
weird about everything. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Is it like, it's so cool,
It's
right?
fun,
It's like
but
a huge change.
Definitely. Because I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun.
Any mishaps yet?
Not yet.
Are you a two-hand on the steering wheels or one?
2.
Or a knee? A knee, a hand, or 2 hands?
How about a foot?
A foot grabbing with every hand. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, that's great. So, a kid with a new job, a kid with a new license. Anybody else? He's not going to say it. But I'll say it for him. He also just got his driver's license. No, I'm joking. No. Candace Snyder is taking a little field trip tomorrow. Yes. Right, after the bat mitzvah, but it's, ever since Simchat Torah, when we read in the Torah that nobody knows the location of Moses's death, or where he's buried to this day, Candace Snyder is taking that as a challenge. Right. That he said to me, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to find where Moses is buried. So he is taking a trip to Jordan, which is where the last we saw Moses was on Mount Nebo in Jordan, and he is going to find Moses' burial place, and he is going to come back a week later reporting with pictures if he found it. That story is entirely true, with the exception of the priorities. Other than priority, that story is entirely true. He is doing everything I said, but that's just not his reason for doing it. Nonetheless, Candace Snyder is heading out overseas to Jordan tomorrow. Also, to double check, I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan is from Jordan. Just make sure that, check that out for me. Along with Moses' burial place and whether Michael Jordan is actually from Jordan. Anyway, we wish you, of course, safe trip and safe travels. That's really exciting. He's going to see his fiancée, Lindsay, who is studying on a Fulbright scholarship in Jordan, which is quite an amazing thing. And on top of it, then to go and visit her while she's there. How exciting. We're really happy for you, excited for you. Oh, to be young again. So not Jordan? Fair enough.
Jordan was born in Maryland.
Oh, good point. I didn't even think about you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe how I went to Michael Jordan before going to you, Jordan, is unbelievable, and I am sorry. Anyway, thank you. The joy of these special joys that are in our lives. We have a blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Gomel Chasadim Tovim. We praise you, Adonai, our God, for partnering with us in the many joys that are in our lives. Amen. Now, along with the joy, of course, is a recognition of difficulty and struggle because loved ones of ours are in need of healing. Some of our loved ones are in need of physical healing. Other loved ones are in need of emotional healing. And we have a blessing for them. We call it Misha Berach. We're going to do this. I will recite half of the blessing, and then at the point where you insert someone's name, I will give you a chance to say names of people that you would like to include in this prayer for healing, and then we'll finish the blessing up and then sing. So, the blessing starts this way. Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, V'Yaakov, V'Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel. Means may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. Hu Yivarech V'Yirapet Kol HaCholim Shalanu. May God bless and heal all of our loved ones who are in need of healing, especially the ones whom we name at this time. And so if you'd like to share the name of someone in need of healing, please feel free to, I'll just kind of scan the room, and if you want to say a name, please do so. Yeah.
Edward Batman.
Thanks.
Ashley T.
Thanks. Yeah.
Rick Childs, Jay Tilton.
Thanks.
Linda Messinger.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thanks.
Nathan Goldberg.
Thanks. And Allison Herman. And Stephen Schwartz. Vishlach lahem b'mheira, refuah shlema. May God send them speedily a complete recovery, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, healing of body and a healing of spirit, b'toch sha'ar cholei Yisrael, amongst all who are in need of healing, v'nomar amen. And let us say amen. Page 371 in your Siddur is where you find Misha Berach.
Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Li'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We pause now for a moment of silence.
Oh, say shalom, be romav, uyase shalom, aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tehem. Ve'yimeru Amen. Ve'yimeru Amen. Ve'yimeru Amen. Ve'yimeru Amen.
So, it's been quite a week for me, personally. You probably can tell just by the title of the sermon how much of a great week it's been for me. It's been misery. It's been horrible. It's been a horrible week for me in which I went down on. It was going on during Torah study. I had no business teaching, and then I had to. It was from there on. It was not pretty. Norovirus is no fun, and while I feel a million times better, I'm still reeling from the memory of it. I was lonely because I was kind of in the spirit of COVID. I was quarantined in the basement, not able to have any human contact for fear of infecting anyone else in my house with the norovirus. And you know, it's funny, Cantor Snyder and I were talking earlier about how on many levels, what are the things that have come out as a result of COVID that's been good for us? You know, Zoom has been kind of a really good thing that we got out of COVID, but also, for sure, the fact that we're much better about communicating when we're sick, not infecting other people. We take it seriously, we wash our hands often, and so I'd like to think of us as a healthier society, but there's no question that that other lingering thing from COVID was that feeling of isolation and that feeling of being kept away from others. It's a real hardship, there's no doubt. And Judaism, by the way, the Talmud, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but the Talmud gets somewhat graphic when it talks about sickness. The Talmud is kind of fun, actually, if you want to have some fun reading about people who were lying on beds and pus was coming out of them on various different ways, or various different stomach issues. I'll just leave it at that. The Talmud's got it all. It's great. And the rabbis of the Talmud, departed from the traditional view of sickness that the Bible has. So the Bible, the Torah, when it talks about sickness, it's usually because of a punishment. You are sick because you are being punished for something you did. And the most notable of those sicknesses are skin diseases, that was a clear punishment according to the Torah and according to the Bible. You have a rash, you need to think about what it is you did. Now, but in general, but the other sicknesses too, punishment, punishment, punishment. Now, the Talmud flipped it. And the Talmud said that in actuality, if you are sick, it's because it's like a precursor for a blessing. When people got sick, they thought their suffering came with purpose, and that their suffering meant something greater was going to happen. And there are various stories in the Talmud which talk about how that the world seemed inverted. That there's this one story I know about when this man was succeeding, when his fields were getting the proper amount of rain, he was really happy, but then he noticed that the rest of the community wasn't getting enough rain, and so he said something to God, and then what happened? God gave everybody else rain, but not him, and then so much rain that it started to flood. In other words, oftentimes these blessings and these curses, they kind of work in opposition with each other, especially in the Talmud. There is even the most famous of all of the stories, not exactly to my point, but you'll see in a second why I bring it up, is this kind of famous story about this rabbi named Rabbi Chia. So Chia was this pious, sweet, kind of innocent and simple, but very learned rabbi, and he became very, very sick. And it's unclear what his ailment was. However, by the way that he seemed to be moaning and groaning about it in the Talmud, I have to think he may have had the norovirus too. In any event, so he's sick and miserable. And in walks Rabbi Yochanan. Now, for anyone who actually knows a little bit about the Talmud, have been studying it with me, different Yochanan than the one we talk about normally. In any event, but this is a great Yochanan, but just later. So Yochanan walks up to Rabbi Chia and says, "Is your suffering dear to you? Are you happy about this suffering?" And most people who read this, they say, that's got to be the dumbest question. Of course no one wants to suffer. But what he's really asking is, do you want to be suffering because, you feel like the end is worth the suffering? Right? You're struggling, you're sick, but there's a purpose to your suffering. And do you want to play this out? Kind of like if someone were to, a woman or a man who has who's holding down a number of jobs, they're a single parent, there are a number of jobs, they're quite literally killing themselves with trying to just make ends meet. And they are indeed suffering because of how hard they're working. But they know that it's worth it. They know that the suffering is worth it. Same here. Yochanan's asking, is the suffering worth it? Because you're going to get something really worthy out of this. And Chia looks at Yochanan and says, neither the suffering nor the reward is worth what I'm going through. Nothing is worth it. And so what does Rabbi Yochanan do? He takes Chia by the hand. And within moments, Chia is healed. And the story ends. And then a second story begins. And this time it's Rabbi Yochanan who's sick. Same guy who just healed Chia. And he probably has the norovirus too, because he's moaning and groaning and complaining. And in walks Rabbi Hanina. And Hanina asks Yochanan, same question, is your suffering dear to you? Is it worth it? And Yochanan looks at him and says, it is not even close to worth it. Like, please heal me. And so Hanina grabs Yochanan by the hand. And in a moment later, Yochanan is healed. And so you might be thinking the same question, but I'll ask it for you. And so the anonymous rabbis of the Talmud, it just says, they ask, why is it that Yochanan needed Hanina to heal him? Why didn't he just heal himself? After all, we just saw only, one sentence earlier, 2 sentences earlier, that Yochanan had just healed Chia. So why did we have to bring in Hanina to do the healing? Why didn't Yochanan just take his right hand and put it on his sick left hand and then everything was going to be fine? And they answered, it's because a prisoner cannot free himself from captivity. In other words, what they were saying is that you might be a doctor, but when you're sick, you need another person. You might be a therapist, but when you need therapy, you can't do it for yourself. You might be a rabbi or a cantor, but if you are getting married or, you don't do the wedding of yourself for yourself. You need the help of others. And it reminds me of the most important lesson of the norovirus. And while we're out of COVID too, but any of these sicknesses, especially these ones that kind of put you out of commission and you find yourself isolated from everyone else for fear that you're going to infect somebody. And that is, we desperately need others. We desperately need each other. We have this healing prayer we do every single week here. And if you've come enough, because I don't say it every time, but I say it plenty, and that is, I say, in case you're wondering whether the words of this prayer are going to actually bring healing, they're not. So stop, because if they did, then all we would do all day long is just sit here saying the same healing prayer, because clearly if they did, that means say it enough times and say it loudly enough and say it well enough that it's going to work. But we don't think that. I don't think that. But what I do think is that we say it together and we see others and we know where others are helping us and going through this with us, and we know at that moment that healing might be able to come because we feel the support of others. The lesson from the norovirus is that it reminds us just how critical we need other people in our lives. Because when you're stuck in a basement for 4 days, not able to greet people, you realize what's really important. Now, and I know that there are some of us who would love to have just a day just kind of to ourselves at a basement with no one interrupting us. Yes, I get it. But after the first day, it gets tough. The first day's great. it's the subsequent days after that. A prisoner can't free himself, and we can't either. We need the help of each other. We depend on it. We flourish because of it. And it brings us out of the depths to high places. And so I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you giving me this chance to just get all the last days and days just off my chest here, or unburden myself with it. And I do want you to know, as just one final postscript to this, which is that though I feel completely fine now, the CDC claims that I'm still a little contagious. So do not walk up to me. Give yourself some distance from me. But that's what the CDC claims. I don't think I am, but you never know. I'm not going to argue with that. Nonetheless, thanks so much. Shabbat Shalom. And let's continue on page 586 with Aleinu. And so I invite you, when you get to page 586, that if you would please rise. We would be grateful. 586. Almost there. Tradition at the synagogue is, at the time of the Kaddish, which is in just a moment, that we ask that if you hear a loved one's name mentioned, that you rise. You don't have to, but you wait. If you have a loved one's name who will be mentioned for the Kaddish, you wait to hear their name, and then you rise. And why? It's because it gives us the opportunity to see you in your mourning, and to recognize that this is to hear this name for you is difficult, and it matters, and we want to know it. And so at the after giving people a chance to stand if they are in mourning for somebody on this list, then everyone will have a chance to rise, whether it's because you are remembering someone, or because it's your tradition to stand, or because you recognize that there are so many of the 6 million lost who don't have anyone to say Kaddish for them. And so for any reason you have, if you would like to rise at the end, I'll give you a chance. But first, we rise if you hear the name of a loved one. And so we are delighted to say that we don't have any recent passings, but we do have a number of people whose yahrzeits occur in the Shabbat. Milton Roy McDaniel and Lois Scheffler, Gil Sussman, Alan Weingold, Mitchell Lance Handon, Abraham Krugman, Brian Murray, Beth Ann Raymond, Edward Herman Rose, James Vakis, Joseph Weiner, Michelle Offsey, Mildred Solonic, Jane Krushat, John Argue, Norma Gordeski, Sydney Greenspan, and Debbie Reese-Katz. And now I invite anyone who wishes to rise either in solidarity, in connection, in friendship, or because it's your tradition, please feel free to do so. We continue now with the Kaddish. It's on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yalmad divrach ulutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechal beit Yisrael ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah v'varach le'alam ulamei amayah. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechumata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom ben Ramav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to every bereaved heart. Amen. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Our service is almost completed. Just Motzi and a closing song, which is Adon Ulam, and that's on page 625. However, before we conclude, just want to say thank you so much to Jerry Falk and to Jill Simon for serving as ushers this evening. Thank you also to Ali and Sam and the Messinger family, along with Gwen Walkoff, for sponsoring the Oneg Shabbat. Thank you so much. Tomorrow is Michaela's bat mitzvah, 10 a.m. You can also, by the way, if you want to not come, you can watch it on the stream, but just make sure you're taking notes of every mistake that's made. So
She won't make any,
so
it's
you can
us.
tell her about them, and then record it. So joking, of course. The weekly email has a little survey seeing if anyone wants to participate. 20-second survey is what to name our Shabbat Zimra band. If you've seen the survey, feel free to take a second and name it so we can say, oh yeah, enough people in the synagogue participated and this is the name of the band. It's President's Day weekend, and so therefore there is no religious school. The temple is closed on Monday, and no Torah study, and with apologies, no Sages class, but that's on Tuesday, but that's because we have a board meeting, but I feel bad every time we don't have it, because I love that class so much, and last week I had to cancel because this. The youth group, Beatty, is having a movie night. It's actually not just for youth group, they're inviting 7th grade and 8th grade along with the high school, and the movie is wicked. And there's going to be food here and snacks, and you can bring Jewish friends who are not part of the synagogue, but if you know anybody who's interested in youth group stuff, Saturday, February 22nd, so a week from tomorrow, is our Beatty movie night. The Men's Club Comedy Cavalcade, that's Sunday the 23rd. That's always a lot of fun. And anything you need to know is in our weekly email. Okay, so before we conclude with Adon Olam on 625, we're just going to continue with the Motzi. And so, Michaela, you want to come on up with your parents and your sister to lead us in Motzi? That's right. He's immunized. So grab the chal. That's definitely what I'm not. Oh my God! I almost had a heart attack. Okay, so I'll take it back. So grab that challah, or take the whole board. Yeah. Yeah. Ready to do it with me? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem service right in the lobby. Beautiful. All right, you guys can go back to your seats. Adon Olam, 625.
Adon Olam asher halach b'terem bo yitzir nivra le'nasa v'chefso kol hazay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu Adon olam Hashem Allah b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ein asa v'chefzo kol azay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thanks for being here, and join us in the lobby for an Oneg Shabbat. And thank you to everybody on stream who joined us as well.